The following podcast contains spoilers for Atomic Eden. You have been warned.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your host, Glenjamin Bun, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
Hello, Glenjamin Button. How you doing today?
We're doing good. It's really hot day today on this gorgeous Sunday. But it's like a sauna in my room. It's so bountiful.
Mi pantalones es fuego.
Muy fuego.
Muy fuego.
As they say.
It is really hot, and I hate the heat. I prefer winter. I prefer to be cold. I don't like being hot. I sweat too easily. And all you summer-loving people can go kick rocks.
Literally, go start kicking them.
Start kicking them without steel-toed boots. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again, too.
Just I hope you get dirt in your shoes. Like you have those little mesh shoes and they go right through your shoes and now you got dirty feet. You gross people. I'm more of a fall guy myself. And how dare you people wish this upon me and my skin. Anyway.
I'm fall and winter. But yeah, let's, we haven't talked to you. Actually, I talk to you like every day if I'm completely
always
honest.
talk to each other. It's hard to break us up.
But what have you watched since we recorded last that you can tell all the little men, women, and children about?
So I haven't watched any movies, but I tried to start watching shows. I haven't watched shows enough, so I'm trying to dedicate this little year to maybe watching some shows. So I started, for some reason, with Jupiter's Legacy, which is on Netflix, because like, okay, it's another superhero show. It seems to be getting a lot of trend on Netflix and all over the internet. So I decided to give it a shot. Never heard anything actually good or bad about it, but God, is that show bad? I've only got 5 episodes in, and I'm surprised I honestly got that far.
Yeah.
The best thing about the show is that they kind of have these flashbacks to this one character's origin, but it's like the Great Depression, and like he's just a normal human being, and like that is the best part about it. It's just these little flashbacks that happens once or 2 times an episode, and like it's really cool how they set it up, and then you go back into reality where it's like this, it's this superhero world, and it's just kind of gets really dumb, and it just becomes really basic and just gross. The effects freak me out. I honestly at one point started crying in the corner because I was so scared of what was happening. Not in a like I was actually scared, but dear God, please help me. It seemed like a nice CW show, if not worse.
It looked like a CW show, honestly. So when I saw that, I was just like, I don't know. I feel like Netflix shows have been slowly going downhill.
Yeah, I was genuinely curious what a superhero Netflix show would look like, and if that was it, well, I probably won't watch another one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but yeah.
And
that's also another reason why I don't start watching shows, because like, if they're bad but you're invested, like Caitlin gets invested in bad shows all the time. She's like, man, this show's terrible. I'm like, why are you still watching it? And she's like,
just don't waste my time.
I'm invested at this point. I'm like, that's a dumb reason, but okay.
Yeah, it's a terrible reason. And then after giving that up really quickly, I actually started rewatching Scrubs, which is a show that I used to love, absolutely, when I was in middle school and high school, because I came home and that was like one of the things on Comedy Central, and I just cranked that bad boy on, and loved the show. I just started. I actually am on the last episode right now of the first season. God, I still love that show, man. And it's kind of very painful, the fact that I realize what character I am in real life. And it's the janitor character in there. He's got the maintenance suit on, and he's always a smart ass to all the employees that work at the hospital. That is quite literally me, taken from that show in real life, and I never noticed until rewatching this, and it scares me.
What character would you say I am?
Probably Dr. Cox, honestly.
Dr. Cox? I like
Harry
that.
Cox.
I was never a huge fan of Scrubs, but I always liked Dr. Cox. He's the one that just like yells at people all the time, right?
Pretty much, but he's
like,
really good dude underneath
way.
it. Yeah,
in
very
a lovable way.
way.
Because I like yelling at people for fun, like not to be taken seriously. I know his character is to be in their world taken more seriously. But like I like yelling at people just to fuck with them. So
Yeah, he yells at them all just to fuck with him, but then he's actually like an actual genuine character who cares about his doctors and stuff like that, and it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's a really great show. I do love it. I can't wait to get to the rest of the seasons. Never thought I'd actually rewatch it, but because on Comedy Central it was always this episode, and then randomly this episode, and then this episode. So it's nice to get back into it and watch the whole thing. I hear the last season's kind of butt, so I might not just watch that at all.
Yeah, that was when they all left, or at least Zach Braff left, and they had Dave Franco was there for some reason.
Yeah, I assume they just got new interns or something like that.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. I
tried to change it up.
My sister used to love that show, so she was very.
It's a great show.
Yeah, me and TV shows like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like if I'm not 100% in love with it. I don't like wasting my time.
And other than that, that's literally all I've watched this whole time. Very busy boy this week, and very, very hot, sweaty boy this week as well.
Well, that reminds me. Last week we didn't talk about the fact that I watched Invincible at your behest.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I watched Invincible. I do like it. I know we talked and I kind of made you sad that I don't think it's as impressive.
I overhyped it for you. Like I knew what was going to happen, but like I was talking.
There's some hope in you. So you absolutely love that show. I enjoyed it. I have a lot of problems with it. I don't think 8 episodes is necessary, and especially that last episode. The last episode was good, but the first 15 minutes of it are so incredibly repetitive.
Yeah,
that it's just like that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they're just like, get on with it. That's how I am when I watch that series. But yeah, it's a good show. Me and superheroes, I'm never gonna be super impressed with them anymore.
Yeah. Especially when there's characters who are pretty much literally, and this is when the title card would pop up, Invincible.
And honestly, I hated that thing. Every time they said Invincible, the title card popped up. I got tired of that. I thought it was cute the first time, and then I was just like, okay, now you're just trying too hard. But yeah, it's a good enough show where I will watch the second season. It's not like House on Haunted Hill, or Hill House or whatever it is, The Haunting of Hill House. It's not like that show where people kept bugging me to finish the series and it still was garbage. And I did not watch Bly Manor, even though they're not really related. They are, the same.
Which I would probably, interestingly enough, say the second season was better, but still.
I believe you, but not enough for me to...
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Not enough for me to waste 10 hours of my life. I could watch 5 movies or 3.5 really long movies.
Yeah. Well, I got a better result out of the Invincible thing than I was expecting, but at the same time, I shouldn't have pushed on you so hard.
It's all right, baby. It's all right. I love you.
Thank you for accepting me.
But this week, I watched 6 movies, including Atomic Eating, which we'll get into in a minute. The first one I watched is a independent comedy called The Climb. I have a 60-second review on our YouTube channel for that. It's a independent comedy from 2019. One thing I will say is that a lot of each segment is shot as like a one shot, which is really cool. But yeah, other than that, you can check out my review, my 60-second review. Then I rewatched another movie that I watched in college in my history of film class called Badass with it's spelled BAADASSSSS exclamation.
Beautiful.
It is written and directed by Mario Van Peebles, and it is about his father making an independent film for black audiences in the 70s called Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, I believe is what it's called. The one his dad made. His dad's Melvin Van Peebles. So it's a great film for those who like movies about filmmaking. It's inspiring if you want to be a filmmaker because he kind of had all the odds against him. And it's a really funny and good movie. You see Terry Crews like at the beginning of his acting career in that film.
Okay.
Yeah, a really solid film. Highly suggest people check out Badass.
Badass.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Badass.
Badass.
Yeah, so that I watched that. Then I watched Spiral from the Book of Saw. Again, 60-second review of that is on our YouTube channel. It is a Saw movie. If you need to know more than that, you can check out my review on YouTube. The Woman in the Window, I watched that next, is another 60-second review. I'm trying to this new format of 60-second reviews if people couldn't figure that out. You can check that out on YouTube. But yeah, this is like a Rear Window knockoff. And is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. You tell me. Watch the 60-second review and then tell me.
Yeah. When I stopped by my mom's like a week or two ago, she was actually about to watch that. And I was just like, I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
It's like, I just have no genuine interest in this.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Don't want to give away too much because it's only a 60-second review.
But watch the 60-second review to find out more.
Then I watched Kajillionaire, which is a comedy film from last year with Evan Rachel Wood. What are their names? God damn it. How do I forget people's names so much? Evan Rachel Wood, Richard Jenkins, Gina Rodriguez is in there. And it's essentially about this family of grifters who just kind of come up with small schemes, slightly illegal, some very illegal, some not so illegal, just finding loopholes. And they're just kind of trying to live off the grid, but also make money. And yeah, it's an interesting film. It has its moments. I think it could have been a lot better, but it's still a really solid film. So that's Kajillionaire. Then I watched Atomic Eden, which we will get to in just a minute. And that's all I watched. So let's jump into some news.
All right.
Glenn, is the news that you have happy or sad?
Happy.
Okay, so I will start with my news.
Okay.
You know, it's not a Keystone Film Review podcast episode if we don't talk about a death in the film industry. And unfortunately, Charles Grodin of Midnight Run and Beethoven and the 1976 remake of King Kong fame, he died this past week on May 18th. She's just one of those actors that was always a part of my childhood because of the Beethoven franchise. And of course, he had a much more storied career. I think Clifford is a movie that people hate on for no reason, even though it's a funny movie. It's like, I think people try to take it too seriously. I legitimately don't understand why people hate Clifford.
Yeah.
Have you seen Clifford?
I've not seen any of the movies that he's in, to be honest with you.
Well, it's essentially Clifford is Martin Short playing a 12-year-old boy, and Charles Grodin is his uncle, and it's a really weird movie that I think works really well for today's audiences.
Yeah.
But it was so ahead of its time that I don't think people really accepted it as well in the 90s when it was made.
Okay.
But yeah, Charles Grodin, he was a great actor. Robert De Niro had a beautiful tribute to him in a press release, and he's just a, great talent that will be missed. And
absolutely.
Yeah. That's my news. So hopefully we can get the mood back up before jumping into our review.
I will do my damnedest. Obviously, rest in power to Charles Grodin. But sadly, we must move on to the next thing. And my next thing here is Henry Cavill was cast for Highlander.
Ooh.
So we actually just watched Highlander not that long ago.
Yeah.
Who was the Highlander before? Christopher Lambert?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so
all I remember is Clancy Brown as the bad guy.
Yep, and so I'm assuming he's going to be the new Highlander, which is huge, because fucking Henry Cavill is the best human being to ever exist, in my opinion, other than other handful of people. He's in that group of my palm. Hopefully he's taking Christopher Lambert's
Him and Moss
part.
Mikkelsen are like your dream three-way.
Absolutely. Stop. I'm already sweating. But that's not the only piece of news I have from that. Clancy Brown has actually gone on to state that he would like to be the Spaniard in the movie if he could get back in. So that'd be pretty awesome to see him do that.
Yeah.
Obviously taking Sean Connery's spot, the one who just recently passed away.
Yeah. And Clancy Brown's like a good age for it, too.
Topic. But yeah, Clancy Brown, if he can get back on the project, that'd be awesome. I'm glad he's kind of vocal about it, and I saw that because that'd be pretty fun to be a part of.
Absolutely. I love Clancy Brown. He was the best part of the first Highlander, which in my opinion is not a great movie, but I understand why it has a cult following. And
we didn't even watch the rest of them, but I can only imagine how they go for sure.
I assume they get stupider and crazier.
Yeah. So that'd be a cool thing to look forward to. Obviously, Henry Cavill's got a very busy schedule ahead of him, and adding Highlander to it could be the first step in actually liking Highlander. Who knows?
Hopefully, he doesn't have any projects where his facial hair needs to be digitally removed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know he actually is doing The Witcher, so he's just not having any facial hair for that period because that character doesn't grow facial hair from the books, from what I understand.
That's a shame. Mm-hmm. Henry Cavill with a beard is a beautiful looking man.
With a mustache is a beautiful looking thing.
Yeah.
Imagine like Superman mustache just lasering.
Granted, I feel this way about most people. Most people look better with facial hair than they do without.
That's true. It's man's natural makeup.
Yeah, who can grow it at least. Mm-hmm. And
how do you think I've been hiding this no upper lip this whole time?
Yeah, you got no upper lip.
None. Just like my eyebrows.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, before you start weeping into your elbow, maybe we should jump into the movie for this week, which is Atomic Eden.
I think so.
Together, they must fight an army of madmen.
If it's war that he wants, it's war he's gonna get.
Who are these guys?
8 against 800. They just couldn't lose. American blaxploitation legend Fred Williamson. German martial arts sensation Mike Muller. In Nico Sentner's Atomic Eden.
Atomic Eden. Trapped inside an old mining complex somewhere in the ruins of Chernobyl, a group of international mercenaries must band together to fight an army of madmen, 8 against 800. They just couldn't lose.
Okay. Yeah. This is... I don't know why it's turned into a cow. This is
so random.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. This is directed by Nico Sentner and written by Nico Sentner and Dominic Stark. It's starring Fred Williamson, Mike Mueller, Hazuki Kato, Everett Ray Aponta, Lorenzo Lamas, Wolfgang Rhyme. One of those.
Yes.
Nico Sentner and Dominic Stark. Josephine Heiss. I know a lot of them are German, which is why I'm trying to figure this out. And Jens Nier, or Jens Nier, one of those. Anyway, this is a very independent film. Mm-hmm. It's got a budget of 2.5 million euros. So very low budget. An homage to 80s mercenary films. The producer, Derek Stark, has told us.
Dominic.
Dominic Stark. My apologies, Mr. Stark. I went in watching this. I know we kind of were groaning about it.
Yeah.
Because Streaming Roulette picked it for us. I, for one, like going into movies knowing what they are before watching them, so I don't have super high expectations.
Yeah, we knew exactly what we were getting into here.
So what we were hoping for was a fun action movie that could be watched with friends. Mm-hmm. What we got, an action movie that was fun in moments, but overall I feel like it was a little too slow moving, specifically in the beginning. With this kind of movie, you need to kind of jump right on into it. And the beginning opens up with a segment where Fred Williamson is just grabbing.
He's collecting his team.
Collecting the team. And it has its moments. This movie really does have its moments. I think the team involved, definitely, you could tell, were very passionate about this. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the biggest problem that I had with it was the cinematography and the IMDb page. I didn't see it in the credits, but the IMDb page does not list a cinematographer. So I would not be surprised if a lot of the time they just had
somebody just doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone just putting it on sticks. 'Cause I really feel like this film could have been better with interesting cinematography.
Yeah,
but a lot of it.
A lot of it freehand could have been very much a lot of close-ups. It needed that like close-in shots a lot.
It needed variation because a
And,
lot of it was like wide two shots and
yeah,
stuff like that.
we got pretty decent good fight scenes when it came to the David character, the fighter.
Yes, yeah, I
because
agree.
during his scenes, those were all really cool. They stayed caught up with him because he's really fast, dude. His fighting cinematography was cool, but other than that, it was kind of like medium shots or anything. You know, they on like you said on sticks, and they weren't moving too much. Like it all
Yeah.
just were just sitting there.
Yeah, and again, that could be easily explained with budgetary constraints.
Yeah.
The lack of a cinematographer. I'm not one to say like, hey, these people made a film and that's more than most people can say. I just think that for this kind of movie, for it to really be pushed over the edge, for people to forgive a lot of the, for lack of a better word, cheap qualities of it, and I'm only saying that because it is a very independent, low budget film. I think interesting cinematography would, and even just by hand holding,
Yeah, literally
that,
freehand could have changed a lot of this movie.
yeah,
up.
exactly. Freehand camera movements would have made it a lot more interesting. But it's not without its moments. I think there's a lot of really funny moments, and one of the things that I kind of appreciated is a few of the characters kept trying to make the male characters, of course, tried to make like sexist jokes to the women, and the women just like weren't having it. I really enjoyed that. They just like stared at them until they realized how stupid they were being.
Yeah. For sure, like it definitely, the characters were fun in their own respective ways. I think my favorite was like the priest.
The priest was a great character. I really liked the priest.
Because like they were all fun in their own ways, but definitely the priest was my favorite for the cinematography reasons. David the fighter was my favorite. Like just following him around and doing stuff.
It makes me wonder if the camera operator was one of the main actors, because like anytime that David was in the fight, it was obvious that they put a lot of effort into that, and I wonder if that's just because the person who was running the camera was not in front of the camera.
Yeah, because it kind of drew a lot of the scenes out when you were on sticks. So like it was all kind of not one takes, but they were very long takes. So it kind of took that away from you when you could have been in the moment doing that freehand stuff and doing different takes with it. Again, like it's all just chalked up to maybe there was an actual reason behind it, but when you're doing like these long takes, you kind of get drained away from having the characters. I think they messed with the Texan way too much. And it kind of, that drew me out of it for sure, because everything about him was just Texan stuff. Like,
it was nauseating.
Yeah.
And a little, I know that again that the filmmakers are German. I don't know if the actor, I believe he's a producer as well, Everett Ray Aponte, is American or German or what have you. But most. It looks like he is Texan. So maybe he kind of just pretty much anyone that's not in Texas hates Texas, to put it bluntly. So it's not as appealing to have a Texan character as some people might think.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like the whole Western thing. It's just someone who is so in your face Texan that gets annoying really quick to 90% of the American population.
Yeah, that's kind of like its thing with every character here, though, is each character is so in its stereotype or like its type that's all they really are. That's kind of why I like the priest so much, because he was the priest and then he became more than that. Once he joined up with the group and just became this badass character. So everybody fit their mold, and they didn't really have much more than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say that for some other movies or whatever, but we had that a lot of time where we could have explored that a lot. Like
Definitely.
maybe fleshed out their characters a little bit more, but instead. We just got these long, drawn-out shots of just, sex jokes in between each other and yada yada.
And every now and then we had a good one-liner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember all of them, but in the beginning, when Fred Williamson's character is trying to recruit the priest. He says, "You'll never see me again." Mm-hmm. Maybe. Which itself is not funny, but the way he delivers it is pretty funny. And there are a few moments like that where it is kind of like charming and in the way kind of is reminiscent of those 80s mercenary films where, I ain't got time to bleed, like that kind of stuff from Predator. I really appreciated those moments, but they're just kind of few and far between for this for this film.
For an hour and a half long film, there could have been like so much more filled into it that we could have enjoyed. Again, they went way further than most people would ever do with making a movie, which is awesome on its own rank there. But yeah, like with that allotted time, you could have done a lot. Maybe it's all coming down to crew. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it has its moments for sure. I didn't exactly hate this movie in any way. I did not, I'm not gonna lie, find myself bored. But I mean, the moments really came together. I liked some of the characters, and a lot of the fight scenes actually were pretty cool with the Mike Muller parts.
They definitely
or Mahler. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they even the shootouts were interesting to an extent. I don't know if you picked up on this. There was one of the crazy people. First of all, the crazies are designed, the way they're designed reminded me of George Romero's The Crazies. Don't know if that was intentional or if that was just like a cheap costume that you could get a bunch of. But I was just thinking about the Crazies junkyard scene pretty much the whole film. The even the shootouts were fun. But there is one shootout scene where there is one of the madmen who has a silencer. Yeah. Like, what is the point of a silencer in an all-out shootout? I just thought it was funny.
I love that they were, like, most of them were wearing Converses and stuff.
Yeah. It really reminded me of, this is going to make me sound old because I'm not that old. These people are older than me. But, like, back when, in my day of, like, making films in student films, like the costumes were like the top half of the costumes were thought out, but not the bottom half. I pretty much just hey, bring a shirt that you don't mind getting messed up.
Wow. If you were in this movie, you'd be called the Boomer.
The boomer.
Jesus. You really just showed your age.
The Boomer who is younger than the people who made this film. But no, I mean, like it's a hard thing to have that much detail on such a small budget. So like, I commend them even for getting it done. There are a lot of really funny parts in the fight scenes, like when Fred Williamson like pulls that guy's head through a wall. Just little things like that made it good. But it really feels like they focused more on the fight. And while yes, action movies are more about the action than they are the dialogue or anything. Movies like Predator, Expendables.
Oh, that's a new movie I've never heard of.
Predator, Predator, Expendables. Movies like that have good characters, and even though it's not like Oscar-winning dialogue, it has interesting, fun dialogue, and doesn't rely too much on.
You're gonna always remember Dutch throwing a knife and yelling, "Stick around."
Exactly. Or you are one ugly motherfucker. So it just, in a way, it felt like they were trying too hard to be witty and not enough responding to the moments that they were put in. Yeah. If that makes sense. And I feel like had they done that, it would have pushed the characters that much further.
Yeah, like they had the allotted time. Like I wish they kind of would have filled that. But, constraints I can understand for sure. Yeah. Being hard, they definitely, like I said earlier, went further than most people would ever or could ever do. But if I'm being honest, I don't really have too much more to say about it.
The one last thing, there's two last things I want to say. Both involve the Texan.
Oh, there's one thing I have to say too.
The shot where, I'll let you go first in case our one thing's the same. The shot where the Texan is dragging the body and struggling really hard with it. Yeah, I was laughing my ass off during that, so I'm really glad. And that's a scenario where keeping the camera static makes it funnier than moving the camera. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to, toot my own horn, but Dominic Stark, if you ever want me to be your cinematographer, I'll gladly be that.
Look at you, you self-plug.
Yeah, self-plug. You can watch my movie, Eugene versus Humanity, on Amazon Prime. Thank you very much.
It's a self-plug.
Written, directed, and shot by yours truly, Miguel Magusto. Anyway, what was your last thing?
Sorry, I was taking some water in.
No, all good.
So the one thing that I wish they had done in this, it was right in the beginning when he's collecting the crew. He actually goes to gather the director of this, John the Sniper. And I wish, because him and Fred Williamson were kind of having this back and forth, and Fred Williamson's goes, I forget the line exactly, but he's like, I don't need to see somebody to hit my target when I'm aiming at them or something like that. And then he starts John the Sniper starts shooting a target. And I wish he's like, oh yeah, puts on some glasses. He's like, watch this. Starts blasting at the target, and then the target comes up. I really wish that it said F you when he pulled it off.
Oh yeah,
because that would have been the perfect moment for that. It would have been a really good funny gag too.
Yeah,
for the moment.
And that's one of those things where you don't have to be super witty for little moments like that build character. That's a dumb joke, but it would work in that situation.
Instead, it still works regardless. He hits all bullseyes or something like that.
Yeah,
and he's like, not bad. Still got it.
The last thing I have to say is in the Texans' last moments before he kind of makes his last stand against all the crazies coming in through the door. He says to me. But he says it with an inflection like he's going to continue.
Yeah.
He's like, to me?
To me?
And then he drinks it, and then he just puts it down. I'm like, and who else?
Yeah.
So, again, that's another one of those things that is 100% because of budget constraints. But it just made me be like, what?
Hey.
Yeah. But overall, every problem with this movie is due to budget constraints, really.
Yeah.
More or less. And it's a fine movie. They made it. They made a movie.
Absolutely.
Better than most people could say. But I feel like it kind of loses its fun factor throughout a good chunk of it, which it really hurts it in the end.
Yeah. Let's move on to the...
Yeah. So, will Atomic Eden become a little shelf boy like the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, or will it go in the trash?
Who knows? Let's see.
Glenn, is Atomic Eden a little... And by the way, Dominic Stark, if you are listening to this by some chance, it's not going in the trash regardless.
Trash is just a joke.
It's just a joke.
We put what movie in the trash? I don't remember. It was a really good movie put in the trash. So
yeah, it's just not. If it doesn't make the shelf, it's not on the shelf.
Just a joke. So here's the thing. I didn't hate this movie in any way. I understand. We both understand budget and what we can do with that. I am very flawed with that because I throw Mike ideas that we can't ever do unless. Unless we eventually come into the lottery. Yeah. For what it is, it's not bad in any way. We knew what we were expecting going into it. Other than a few moments, 2 characters, I didn't really enjoy this too much. Other than that, but regardless, I hope they had fun. We always have fun on our shoots, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what the project comes out. So as long as they had fun, as long as they got to have their little passion project fulfilled, that's awesome. But unfortunately for me, it's not going to be on the shelf at all.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is definitely a movie for a specific viewing experience with friends, kind of just enjoying it, not taking it too seriously. It can be fun in that kind of setting. But I do feel like there's enough flaws with it, even with that in mind, that kind of keep you from really enjoying it to its full potential. There's a lot of potential there. I think they miss on some things. But that is not to be a huge clapback or whatever or shutdown at all. It's still a good movie given the budget and or a fine movie. I don't know if I'd say good, but it's a movie that has been made.
Yep.
And that is more than most people can say. And that you should be proud of regardless. So yeah, it will not go on the shelf either for myself.
Okay.
So Atomic Eden does not go on the shelf, but it does not go in the trash.
Now there we go.
It just stays on Tubi.
It's on the existence.
It's in the movie sphere. But that brings us to plugs for this week. Glenjamin Button, what is your plug?
All right. A lot of people are going to hate my plug, but here we go.
I hate you. I mean,
thank God. Somebody does. I hate being perfect all the time.
You are too perfect. God damn it.
On YouTube, there is a guy by the name of Andrew Russo, or Russo. I assume it's Russo. He's also a TikToker. He's pretty big for his stuff on there. But this actually came out in March 2020. It's a sketch that he made that basically is just him talking, and he just goes into this weird Italian. I'll have to send it to you. It's so weird. It just goes on from this regular conversation about how a muffin is moist, and then his girlfriend's just like, ew, don't say moist, it's really cringy. And then he goes into this whole existential monologue for 6 minutes, and then he goes into the future about this muffin, but it has nothing to do with the muffin. And he turns into some guy from Boston. He picks up a Boston accent. It's so goofy in every way, and I'm glad it was made because I watched that today and just had a good time. At one point, he's just like, and the boy runs so fast. Yeah. It's just so random. It's perfect in every way. So, Moist by Andrew Russo on YouTube. That is all over that. I will send Mike the link because I kind of want him to watch it just to make fun of me.
Okay.
The sand. Do you remember a time of innocence? Just me, you, and the kids. He was such a beautiful boy, Diane. He could run so fast. Diane.
So that is Glenn's plug. My plug for this week, I'm pandering to you a little bit here, Glenn.
Oh.
So the show Invincible, which we discussed earlier, came out on Amazon Prime, and people are loving it. And I didn't love it, but you know what? That doesn't mean other people can't love it.
Liked it enough.
Yeah. What? Yeah, that's true. I didn't like it enough. But there is a behind-the-scenes video of the voiceover recording with J.K. Simmons, Stephen Young, and
Actually,
Sandra
just watched
Oh.
that today, too.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, thank you. And that is on the Amazon Prime Video UK channel. Ooh, UK for some reason.
They switched it up.
What?
They switched it up on us.
Oh, yeah, they switched it up. So, yeah, you can watch a good 7 minutes of behind the scenes, kind of comparing the behind the scenes of them recording versus the final product. And that is voiceover recording with J.K. Simmons, Stephen Young, and Sandra Oh, Invincible's BTS Prime Video on the Amazon Prime Video UK YouTube page.
So we thought we'd start with scene 8 from 103, which you should have there.
Yeah, so you guys want to just run through it and we'll see where it goes.
Mark, why don't you call William? And do what? Hang out? Go buy comic books after this?
Hey, watch the tone.
It's okay.
No, it's not. Look, this is new. I get it. But you need to keep that separate. What happens out there, the mistakes, even the victories, you can't bring it home. It's the only way to stay sane, okay?
There it is.
My plug. So that brings us to our assignment for next week. I'm going to be a little Glenjamin Button here. And Glenn, I'm going to actually make you pick out of 4 movies here.
Works for me.
But I'm going to give you very vague information about them. Do you want an English drama horror mystery from 2019 that is an hour and 24 minutes? Do you want an American adventure comedy family film from 1979 that's an hour and 35 minutes?
Is it Clifford?
What?
Is it Clifford?
No, that's from the 90s, not the 70s.
Oh, you got me.
Do you want a drama romance from Spain that's 2 hours and 28 minutes from 2010? Or do you want, I believe it's English American-made action crime drama from 1973 that is 1 hour and 42 minutes?
When's the last time we did a horror one, actually?
I don't know.
I kind of want to go with that, to be honest.
Okay. Well, if that is the case, we are going to be watching a movie that I have already seen, but I want to rewatch and I want you to watch.
Okay.
Because it's a movie that we should watch. And that is called Saint Maud. Which
Actually, I've been meaning to watch this,
yes.
so that's good.
It's on our 2021 Stony watch list, so it's on there. So that is going to be on Amazon Prime Video, Saint Maud.
I just want to see you loosen up.
I've got more important things on my mind.
There's my little saint. Maud, he isn't real.
Nothing worthwhile comes easily.
The good girls go to hell. It's hard to ignore you. Don't say I didn't warn you.
You must be the loneliest girl I've ever seen.
I'm ready and open. I feel fuller of your love than ever before.
It is written and directed by Rose Glass, starring Morfydd Clark. Oh my gosh, all these Welsh names.
There you go.
Kyofion Dune, Jennifer L., and Marcus Hutton. And it is about it follows a pious nurse who becomes dangerously obsessed with saving the soul of her dying patient.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, I watched this. I'm not gonna say anything else other than I watched this. But at the very least, it requires a second viewing. And yeah, so that's gonna be our movie.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah. Yes. So that is going to be our assignment for next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website, www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_Film_Review. Twitter, Keystone_Film. Facebook, Keystone Film Review. YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we get our spook on with Saint Maud. Spooky day.
Spooky.
Why did I become like a jock radio host?
Moo.
Bye.